Dave Roberts now available. First question's from Alana. Go ahead. Go ahead, Alana.
Hi, Dave.
Alana.
What is it said about Will Smith's offense that you want him in there as the DH? When he first came up, we heard so much about the glove, but now it's really becoming more of a well-rounded player for you.
It is. He's really turned into a complete player, and he's only going to get better as he continues to learn. But I think for us to have him as we finish out this season and going into the postseason, just to continue to take regular at-bats. So I think that, there's a scenario where I could see him being a DH for a game or two in the postseason. Obviously, we have confidence in Austin as a ball player as well. So just to kind of, number one, get him those at-bats leading up to the postseason, also just to kind of get him more acclimated to that role if it does happen at some, certain times.
Do you have any more clarity about whether you'll have Tony and Dustin start this weekend or eat up the bulk of the pen innings when you decide to deploy them?
Yeah, I think that it's safe to say that Tony will start tomorrow, and we're going to have Dustin take down the bulk innings on Sunday.
Okay.
But I don't know who's going to start that game, though.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Next question's from Dave Vassay. Go ahead.
Dave, do you plan on using Justin the full game at third base tonight? And has the last couple of nights kind of proven to you that he's back to as close to 100%?
Yeah. I think that he's getting better every day. Tonight, I still don't know if I see him playing the entire game. I like 7 innings, take 4 bats. I could see him playing the entire game tomorrow and then getting an abbreviated game on Sunday. But, it all kind of is contingent on how he's feeling.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Next question from Juan Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, what goes into deciding whether one starts a game and one comes out of the bullpen to pitch bulk innings?
I think that it's more of opponent driven. I think that you look at Julio and Tony, they're more neutral as far as their splits, where Dustin is more dominant against right and then not as dominant against left. So I think the opponent certainly matters. That's kind of the main driver, because they've all shown that they can pitch well out of the pen. And, the truth of the matter is that you have one spot for 3 different guys that are more than capable in that first round. So we've got a tough and good decision to make.
Does game 3 still depend on opponent?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Another question from Alana. Go ahead.
Dave, no abbreviated start for Kirsch today, right? You let him go as long as he can and long as he can and is being productive?
I don't see it going to 100 pitches, but I think that it'll be somewhere. I would say, Alana, it's more of a normalist start. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You got it.
Next question's from Bill Plunkett. Go ahead, Bill.
Dave, a year ago at this time, we were asking you an awful lot of questions about Kenley Jansen and possibly having less faith in him as a closer or as your closer. How different is the situation this year?
It's considerably different. I think that if you look at, I don't know how many Bill appearances he's made, call it 24, 25. There's been 3 that haven't gone well. But outside of that, it's been pretty dang good. And the recency has been good. I expect to get him in there tonight and get him in there on Sunday. But for me, I'm just happy to see Kenley's healthy and he's throwing the baseball the way he should.
Is that just the nature of the job that he could go 25 for 26 and it's the one that he messed up that everybody focuses on?
I think so. It's the role or the bed that relievers have made themselves, and then now you're talking about a closer where, when he has a bad night, you typically lose. So Kenley is continuing to grow and get thicker skin. He's just such a good competitor. He cares about his teammates, and he wants to play well. So, but I'm just happy he's healthy. He's in a good place, and I expect him to pitch tonight, Sunday, and be ready to go for the postseason.
How comfortable are you with his makeover as a pitcher, changing the pitch mix, kind of expanding things?
Very comfortable. I think that I like the way he's sequencing the right way now. I also like the way that he's thrown with conviction from the first pitch. I think that that's really important to see. He's commanding the baseball considerably better than he was, and you brought up last year, than he was last year. So those are things that I look for, that they're easy things to bet on.
Thank you, Dave.
You got it.
Next question is from Ken Gurnick. Go ahead.
Dave, have you decided how many pitchers you're going to carry in the first series?
No, Kenny. I would say that I think 12 or 13 is fair. Something like that, yeah.
Is that a tough call when you've got a short series, an expanded roster, and all these good players that you've got?
Yeah, it is a tough call because I think that preventing runs, and you're talking about the pen, but in a short series, you just don't need as much pitching per se, but we've got a lot of great options, so you can kind of, get the exact matchups you want in that 3-batter run, but also having matchups on the position player side helps as well. So kind of balancing out. So I think that 12, 13 pitchers is more than reasonable.
Thanks.
Next question is from Eric Steven. Go ahead.
Dave, with no pitchers hitting this year, there's been obviously fewer pinch hitting opportunities, but having managed through it for like 9 weeks now, are you surprised how different it's been? Like how little sometimes you use your bench?
No, I think, Eric, I think the DH certainly has helped. So that's one thing, because you're not hitting for the pitcher. And also you look at the guys that are playing and playing well, they're just really playing well against both. So not as many platoon driven kind of matchups that we have, which is good, which is a good thing.
I know a couple of other teams earlier this week, like sort of announced their postseason player pool, obviously not the first round roster, but just sort of the eligible number of players. I was just wondering for you guys, is there anyone in that sort of pool for you guys that's not on your 40-man roster?
You know what? We haven't announced it yet, Eric.
Not that I've seen.
I think there might be, Eric. I think there might be a couple guys that are not on the 40-man, but I don't know yet.
Thanks.
Yep.
Next question is from JP Hornstead. Go ahead.
Dave, the numbers league-wide bear out that it has been more difficult for teams to win on the road this season, which might be somewhat ironic considering there are no fans in the stands. Wondering what your observations on that have been as far as why it might be more difficult on the road compared to years past, and how that might play out in the postseason, in your opinion.
Yeah, I don't know, JP. I do know that certainly the fans matter, and without the fans, I just, that in itself is something I wouldn't have guessed. I do think hitting in the bottom half of the inning matters. I do think that playing around a ballpark and surroundings and familiarities that you're used to matter. And I don't know how many games have gone to extra innings that when you get that last at bat in an extra inning game in this format, in this extra inning format, it's certainly of benefit to be the home team.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jack.
Dave, how much do you remember about facing Mookie in that 2018 World Series and how you would game plan against him and just the things that impressed you most about watching him from the other dugout that year?
Well, it wasn't necessarily the series itself, because I think that I remember him getting a base hit against Ryu, and I think it was game 2 that prompted me to go to the pen. I got a base hit up the middle, left to shortstop. I think we kept him really at bay until I think it was game 6 or game 5, something like that, 6 maybe. I don't remember what game it was at home that he had a home run to left center field. But I thought we actually pitched him pretty well. But the talent itself, I mean, you just know the talent. So just to kind of see him, and I've talked about it many times over, just to see him day to day, just a special, special person.
Does his value to a team almost become more magnified in a postseason setting?
Yeah. I just think because when you're talking about game planning for an offense, as each team will do against us, to have Mookie to be prepared, have the right game plan, the right mindset, which feeds throughout the entire offense, the team offense. And I just think that that's only beneficial for our club. Absolutely.
And then when it comes to picking a game 1 starter, I mean, how much do you consult with Clayton and Walker on that? How big of a deal do you think that even is to them, how they order up?
I don't think it's a big deal to them. I think that they have such a mutual respect for one another that they're both pitching game 1 or game 2, so it really doesn't matter. And I think that that's a credit. And again, the respect they have for one another. It's more of me, the coaches, front office, talking about what's going to give us the best chance in that series, what gives them the best, puts them in the best position to be optimally ready and looking out as well.
Thanks, Dave.
You got it.
I got time for one more. Go ahead, Pedro.
Hey, Dave. Wondering what obstacles there are in a year where in the first, maybe the second, maybe the third round of the playoffs, you could be facing someone that you have not seen all season.
Well, it's just the unfamiliarity of this current season. But I think like this whole year, it's unique to everybody. And so for us to potentially see a team in the second round, the third round, whatever, is a team we hadn't seen all year. We still understand most of those players and what they do because of history, but recent familiarity, they haven't seen us either. So it's a level playing field, and the best team, and you're talking about a 5-7 game series, is going to win.
So is it just basically that's just added on more bizarreness to 2020?
I think you can bucket it in there, yeah.
All right, Dave. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Pedro.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everybody.